Walking is the single most recommended activity for maintaining mobility after 60, but one specific mechanical error can quietly damage the knee joint with every step you take. The knee is designed to act as a hinge and a shock absorber, but it relies entirely on proper alignment to function without wearing down the cartilage. When you walk with the correct technique, your muscles absorb the impact of the ground. When you walk with the mistake we are about to discuss, that impact bypasses the muscles and goes directly into the joint. We will correct this primary mistake and 7 other common walking habits to ensure your daily walk builds your strength rather than eroding your knees. First, overstriding. The most common and damaging mistake older adults make is overstriding. Overstriding happens when you try to walk faster or longer by reaching your front leg out too far ahead of your body. When you reach forward excessively, your front leg straightens out completely before your foot hits the ground. This locks the knee joint into a straight, rigid position. Because the knee is locked straight, it cannot bend to absorb the shock of landing. This means the full force of the impact travels up from your heel through the shin bone and crashes directly into the knee joint. This acts like a hammer striking the cartilage with every single step. Over the course of a 1-mile walk, you take roughly 2,000 steps. That is 2,000 unbuffered impacts driving into your meniscus and joint surfaces. This creates inflammation and accelerates the breakdown of cushioning tissues. The correction for this is counterintuitive, but very effective. To walk faster or better, you must shorten your stride. Focus on keeping your steps shorter and quicker rather than long and reaching. Ideally, your front foot should land directly underneath your hip or just slightly in front of it. When your foot lands closer to your body, your knee remains slightly bent. A slightly bent knee acts like a spring. It engages the quadriceps muscle, the large muscle on the front of the thigh, to absorb the ground force. This takes the pressure off the bone and places it onto the muscle, which is designed to handle the load. This is simple to do and immediately reduces joint impact. You will feel less vibration traveling up your leg. Your walk will feel smoother and more controlled. Most older adults find that shortening their stride also improves their balance, as their center of gravity stays more centered. 2. Hard heel. Striking. Here is another simple habit that relates closely to stride length. Many seniors walk with a hard heel strike. This means that when they step, they lift their toes high and slam the heel down into the pavement. This action acts like a brake. Every time a hard heel hits the ground, it momentarily stops your forward momentum. Your body then has to work harder to push over that braking foot to keep moving. Mechanically, a hard heel strike sends a shockwave up the tibia bone. Since the heel bone is dense and unprotected by muscle, it transfers energy very efficiently, unfortunately, right up to the knee. If you walk on hard surfaces, this repetitive jarring can irritate the joint capsule and the soft tissues surrounding the knee. The goal is to change your landing from a crash to a roll. Try to land softly on your heel, but with a smooth transition. Imagine you are trying to walk quietly, as if you do not want to make a sound on the pavement. To walk quietly, you naturally have to control how your foot lands. You place the heel gently, then immediately roll onto the midfoot and then the toes. This rolling motion distributes the weight across the entire foot structure over a longer period of time. It spreads out the force, so the knee does not receive a sharp spike of impact. This is easy on the joints and makes walking feel less tiring. Focusing on a quiet walk is a simple mental cue that automatically corrects your mechanics. This gentle adjustment helps with reducing stiffness after exercise. You do not need to overthink the angle of your foot. Simply focus on softness and silence. 3. Walking exclusively on concrete. The surface you choose to walk on makes a massive difference in how much energy your knees must absorb. A common oversight is doing all daily walking on concrete sidewalks. Concrete is the single hardest surface available to pedestrians. It is roughly 10 times harder than asphalt. Concrete has absolutely no give or energy return. When your foot strikes concrete, the concrete does not compress at all, so the ground reaction force returns instantly to your body. While sidewalks are safe from traffic, they are brutal on aging joints. Asphalt, which is used for roads, is slightly softer than concrete because it is an oil-based mixture, but it is still very hard. Whenever possible, look for softer alternatives. A dirt path, a gravel trail, or a short grass field offers natural cushioning. Even a cinder track at a local high school is designed to absorb shock. If you must walk in a neighborhood, try to find a flat section of grass alongside the sidewalk, provided it is even and safe. Walking on a slightly softer surface allows the ground to absorb some of the impact energy. This means less energy is transferred back up into your knees and hips. If you only have access to sidewalks, be extra vigilant about your shoe choice and stride length. However, mixing in even 5 or 10 minutes of walking on grass or dirt can give your joints a necessary break. This works well for most older adults who have access to a park or yard. Changing the surface also challenges the small stabilizer muscles around the ankle and knee in a healthy way. It improves your proprioception, your body's ability to sense its position in space. This keeps the body balanced and resilient. 4. Wearing shoes with compressed midsoles. Another helpful step involves inspecting your equipment. Walking requires very little gear, but the shoes you wear are the only barrier between your skeleton and the ground. A frequent mistake is judging the life of a shoe by the tread on the bottom. You might look at the rubber sole and see that it is not worn down, thinking the shoe is still good. However, the part of the shoe that protects your knees is not the rubber tread, it is the midsole. The midsole is the layer of foam sandwiched between the outer sole and the fabric upper. This foam is usually made of a material called EVA, ethylene vinyl acetate. Its job is to compress when you land and rebound when you lift your foot, absorbing the shock. Over time, this foam develops a memory of compression. It gets packed down and loses its ability to bounce back. A shoe can look perfectly new on the outside, but have a completely dead midsole on the inside. When the foam is dead, it no longer absorbs shock. That shock is then transferred directly to your knees. Most walking shoes lose their protective cushioning after 300 to 500 miles of use. For a senior walking 2 miles a day, that means the shoes may be worn out in as little as 6 months. Do not wait for holes to appear. Pay attention to how your legs feel. If you finish a walk and your knees or shins feel achy, but they did not feel that way a month ago, your shoes may be the culprit. Another test is to press your thumb into the midsole of the shoe. If it feels rock hard and does not yield, the foam is compressed. If it feels springy and resistant, it is likely still good. Replacing shoes regularly is cheaper than physical therapy or knee injections. This fits into any routine and is a proactive way to protect your cartilage. Most older adults can feel the difference instantly when they switch to a fresh pair. 5. Looking down at the feet posture affects your knees just as much as your feet do. A common habit, especially for seniors concerned about tripping, is walking while looking directly down at their feet. While it is important to scan the ground for obstacles, holding your head in a permanently dropped position changes your biomechanics. The human head weighs between 10 and 12 pounds. When you drop your chin to your chest to look down, you shift your center of gravity forward. To prevent you from falling forward, your body automatically adjusts by tilting the pelvis. This anterior pelvic tilt puts extra tension on the lower back. Crucially, it also forces the knees to stay slightly more flexed and loaded throughout the gait cycle to support the forward-leaning weight. This places constant tension on the patellar tendon, the tendon right below the kneecap. Walking with your head down increases the shear force on the knee joint. The safer method is to use a scanning gaze. Keep your head up and look at the ground about 10 to 20 feet ahead of you. Your peripheral vision and your brain are very good at remembering where obstacles are. By looking 10 feet ahead, you can see a crack in the sidewalk comfortably in advance. Your brain registers the location, and you can step over it without staring directly at your feet as you pass it. Keeping your chin parallel to the ground aligns your spine. It stacks your weight directly over your hips and knees, which is the strongest position for the skeleton. This allows the bones to support your weight rather than the muscles and tendons having to strain against gravity. This is simple to do and improves your breathing as well as it opens the chest. One more easy change is to occasionally check your posture in a shop window reflection as you pass. If you see yourself leaning forward, gently pull your shoulders back and lift your chin. This keeps the body balanced and efficient. 6. Walking with inactive glutes. Here is another simple habit that stabilizes the entire leg. Your knees are supported by two major muscle groups, the quadriceps on the front and the hamstrings on the back. But the steering wheel for the leg is actually the gluteal muscles, the muscles of the buttocks and hips. Many people walk using only their lower legs and hip flexors. They simply swing the leg forward and fall onto it. This is called passive walking. When the glutes are not active, the thigh bone, femur, tends to rotate internally or collapse inward slightly with each step. This inward collapse puts tremendous torque on the knee joint. It is a leading cause of knee pain in walkers. To protect your knees, you need to actively engage your hips. This does not mean clenching muscles tightly. It simply means focusing on the push-off phase of the walk. When your foot is behind you, think about squeezing your glute muscle gently to push the ground away. Propel yourself forward using the power of your hip. This active push stabilizes the femur. It keeps the kneecap tracking in a straight line, right over the second toe. It prevents the wobble and rotation that wears down the meniscus. Walking with active glutes also takes some of the workload off the quadriceps. It shares the effort across the largest muscles in the body. If you are unsure if you are doing this, try walking up a slight incline. Hills naturally force you to use your glutes. Notice that feeling of power in the hip and try to replicate it on flat ground. This helps reduce stiffness and makes your stride more powerful. This is easy on the joints because the muscles are doing the work of stabilization. Most older adults can learn this connection with just a few days of focus. 7. Skipping the warm-up. Cold joints. A critical mistake involves how you begin the walk. Many seniors step out the front door and immediately start walking at their target pace. However, joint cartilage has no direct blood supply. It relies on a fluid called synovial fluid to provide lubrication and nutrients. When you are resting or sitting at home, this fluid is thicker and more viscous. It is like cold oil in a car engine. If you start moving fast immediately, the fluid has not yet thinned out to coat the joint surfaces effectively. This leads to friction inside the knee joint for the first few minutes of the walk. This friction causes micro-wear on the cartilage. The concept you want to remember is motion is lotion. Gentle movement stimulates the joint lining to produce and thin out the synovial fluid. Before you start your actual walk, spend 2 minutes doing a stationary warm-up. Stand near a wall for balance and simply swing one leg gently forward and back. Do not force the range of motion, just let it swing like a pendulum. Do 10 swings on each side, then do gentle, shallow knee bends, only going down a few inches and coming back up. These small, unloaded movements tell the body to prepare the joints. They lubricate the cartilage before you put your full body weight and speed onto it. Once you start walking, treat the first 5 minutes as a ramp-up. Walk slower than your normal pace. Let the feeling of stiffness fade away before you speed up. This simple preparation can significantly reduce post-walk aching. It prepares the tissue to handle the load safely. This works well for most older adults and requires no special equipment. 8. Incorrect downhill braking. The final habit to adjust is how you handle walking downhill. Whether it is a steep hill or just a gentle slope in a driveway, walking downhill is much harder on the knees than walking uphill. When you walk downhill, gravity pulls you forward. To stop yourself from running or falling, your muscles have to fight against gravity with every step. This is called eccentric loading. The force on the kneecap when walking downhill can be 3 to 4 times your body weight. The mistake many people make is taking long steps and locking their knees to brake against the hill. This jams the joint surfaces together with immense pressure. The correct technique for going downhill involves 4 small adjustments. First, shorten your steps significantly. Take baby steps. Second, keep your knees strictly bent. Never let the legs straighten out completely on a decline. Third, lean your upper body slightly back, just a few degrees. This shifts your weight to your heels and hamstrings rather than your knees. Fourth, try to land softly. Think of walking down the hill quietly and lightly. By keeping the knees bent, the muscles of the thigh act as the brakes, absorbing the gravitational pull. The joint itself remains cushioned by the muscle tension. If a hill is particularly steep, do not be afraid to zigzag slightly. Walking down in a serpentine pattern reduces the effective angle of the slope. This reduces the braking force required. This is simple to do and instantly removes the sharp pain many seniors feel on declines. It transforms a damaging activity into a strengthening exercise for the quadriceps. You can do this safely on any incline. By mastering these 8 walking habits, you ensure that your daily exercise remains a tool for health rather than a source of injury. Protecting your knees allows you to stay mobile, independent, and active for years to come. If you know someone over 60 who could benefit from this, share this video and subscribe for more simple health tips.